The Republicans are trying to get a voter reform passed that makes it harder basically to vote. And they are building this bill off of the talking point and idea that illegals are somehow getting involved in our elections and voting when they're not supposed to. Blah, 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 blah. Everybody's heard this talking point. Everybody knows that, you know, if you watch conservative media, all they talk about is how illegals are affecting our economy and our elections. This has been studied insanely frequently. Even the Heritage Foundation, which, if you know anything about, they are not liberal. They are very conservative. Even their data shows that this is a failed talking point. There is no illegal immigration issue that is causing our elections to be stolen. Illegals are not overwhelmingly voting in our fucking elections. Honestly, I'm tired of us having to talk about this fucking point, but we're gonna talk about it.
This is crazy. So let me just start off this hearing by stating some facts. There is no widespread voter fraud in the United States of America. It is simply not true to say that voter fraud or non-citizens voting is a massive widespread issue. That is not to say that that our system is perfect. We face issues when it comes to cyber attacks, foreign disinformation, intimidation, and violence against election workers. Those are all important issues that we should be addressing today, but we are not. We are not. Instead, we're considering a bill that is fundamentally predicated on a lie. There is extensive documentary evidence that voter fraud, voter impersonation, and non-citizens voting is not a widespread issue. It is a myth perpetrated by people whose real goal is to suppress the rights of American citizens. Citizens who are legally and constitutionally entitled to cast their ballot and to prevent American citizens from participating in our elections. Republicans are pushing the Save America Act because they want fewer Americans to vote. It's that simple. Republicans have looked high and low to find fraud. And you know what they've found? Someone is more likely to get struck by lightning than to vote illegally.
Conservative Heritage Foundation has campaigned hard against voter fraud, proudly championed legislation passed by the House last July. Importantly, it also maintains a database of 1,546 quote-unquote proven instances of voter fraud. We are going to talk about that, where Heritage researchers have collected criminal cases which have been brought against people who have committed some kind of electoral fraud, either registering to vote or voting when ineligible. If you know anything about the Heritage Foundation, you know, they're not liberal. They're not left-leaning in any way, shape, or form. And they are spouting off this nonsense about illegal voting or voting when ineligible, blah, 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 blah. This database that they created and maintain themselves helps reveal how there is no crisis of non-citizens voting. Just 68 total cases of non-citizen voting back to the earliest cases in the 1980s. Less than 5% of the cases in their own database were remaining cases all involved U.S. citizens who were ineligible to vote. Can't make that up, bro. They are saying themselves they only found 68 cases of illegals voting since the 1980s. Over the last decade, many politicians have called for overhauling the United States election system, mandating stricter voter IDs. Many have justified this stance by either claiming the U.S. election system is vulnerable to fraud or that fraud is already a common occurrence. Again, 68 fucking cases since the 1980s. Be fucking for real, dude. In May, House Speaker Mike Johnson even said that despite a lack of evidence, he knows intuitively that a lot of illegals are voting in federal elections. Even though there is no evidence to support his claim, he knows intuitively that the illegals are stealing the elections. Be so fucking for real right now, dude. What do those 68 cases tell us? First, it demonstrates that proven cases of non-citizen voting are incredibly rare. Even an organization engaged in a major effort to document voter fraud produced fewer than 70 proven cases of non-citizens who voted in the elections in the last 40 fucking years. Given that over 1 billion votes have been cast, the incidence of proven non-citizens voting is below 0.0001%. But we need to overhaul how we vote, right? This is in line with other analysis carried out following recent elections. For example, in a 2017 Brennan Center analysis of 42 jurisdictions, which tabulated 23.5 million votes in the 2016 election, found that non-citizens were referred for investigation in only 30 cases, or 0.0001% of all votes. Second, the data also tells us that proven cases of undocumented immigrant voting in elections are even rarer. 10 undocumented immigrants in total appear in the Heritage database for unlawful voting. Basically, some of them were stolen identity where they claimed to be one person and they voted under a legal citizen's name, but they were caught. Third, the data tells us that most cases of non-citizen voting involve lawful permanent residents, people with green cards who have been in community for years, many who end up voting due to bad information given by government officials themselves. I'm running out of time here. More information about a previous election not being stolen. I mean, come on, guys. We know that this is bullshit, right? Like, you guys can see that, okay?